So good evening to Moffett, good morning to the rest of the world, to Southern Pulse Television. You know, during all the interviews in flight, there was one question that the journalists were always asking me, is what is the first thing you will do after landing? And I always answered, I want to thank the team. Because I was alone in that plane, but this plane was not built alone by itself. It's a team, it was a team led by André, who has designed and built the plane. It's a team who had organized the flight missions, the logistics, all the people here you've seen on the ground. It's 150 people. And at every moment of the flight, I was thinking, I'm so privileged to be able to fly that plane. And more than all, to fly that plane in this type of world. You know, when you take off with a solo airplane and you fly for several days and several nights, you are in another world. You are in a world of concentration, of performance, of harmony, of peace, of respect. You fly thanks to nature who gives you the energy. You are in the world I love. That's the world I love. That's why I am an explorer. That's why I love adventure. That's why I love flying. And that's why I love to share it. And if there are so many media, it's mainly because we would like other people to understand that everybody can do the same. Everybody can do a world with clean technologies that protect the environment, that brings social peace, wealth to all the population, that if we want to fight poverty, we have to give access to renewable energies. What we do is just a symbol of what everybody could do. And when I was flying completely alone in this tiny cockpit with the reflection of the moon on the waves of the biggest ocean of the world, I was thinking, but everybody should be able to do that experience in order to change his mindset. Change his mindset and be more of an explorer. Get out of the little things, of the habits, of the daily life that keep us prisoner of old ways of thinking, that give us fear of the future, that prevent us to be open to others and to new ideas. So the world of exploration is a fantastic world. It's difficult to come back from it. When André landed in Hawaii after his flight from Japan, I saw in his eyes that there was something he could never explain. Now I know what it is. And I hope one day everybody can know in his own experience of life, because it's not only in a solar airplane. There are so many new things in life that we can try, so many new things that can make a better quality of life for humankind. So let's go for it. Exploration is made for that, and we're really happy to be here and to share that with you. Thank you very much for being here.
Good evening to all of you, and welcome, Bertrand. I'm not going to say much tonight, but I really want to tell you that I'm extremely happy that you could do this flight. Bertrand had this idea to fly with renewable energy more than 16, even I think 17 years ago, and he flew around the world with a balloon. And to be able for you to do this day and night flight now in 3 days and 3 nights flights is the demonstration for everybody that his vision was the right one. And I know that you have been waiting for these flights in such a long time that I'm sure you must have been so happy in this cockpit. You don't realize that you landed here. In fact, I'm really astonished that you already landed.
I wanted to continue.
And I was sure that you would continue. You have to realize when you are in this airplane, you dissociate yourself from the time. I mean, you don't have the time pressure. You don't have to watch the gauge, the fuel which remains. You have the possibility to continue day after day. This is, I mean, truly special. This is a fantastic experience. And if you see these technologies, I mean, they work. It's reliable. I mean, the solar cells can work 25 years without any problem. The electric motors are more reliable than anything else. And it gives, I mean, really a very strong feelings. And it's a gift, in fact, to be able to be in such an airplane. And it makes you think that, you know, if we can have these technologies in an aircraft, it's clear that we can have these technologies everywhere in the world, and that's really what we want to demonstrate. Thank you and welcome, Bertrand.
Thank you, André. Thank you. The plane when I arrived, I thought that's fantastic because, you know, normally who is coming from the west? It's ships since several centuries, bringing people to America, the country of freedom. And here it's a solar-powered airplane for the first time ever. First time that the solar-powered airplane arrives and crosses the Golden Gate. And I think it's a sign that people should really take seriously. Things are changing. Technologies are changing. People are going to travel in another way. People are going to use technologies in another way. Technologies can be clean. They can respect the environment, but they can also create jobs and make profit because it's a new industrial market to be conquered. So arriving in Silicon Valley with a solar-powered airplane, I think it's so symbolic. And I hope everybody will take the challenge and also continue on that path of clean tech.
Here's my last question. This last leg was the riskiest, as well as the hardest part, and also what you were most looking forward to.
So the most dangerous leg, or the most special, was the previous one that André did. Because
you don't have a place to land.
but he did the leg from Japan to Hawaii. And nobody knew if the plane could do it and if the pilot could do it. And both they did it. Of course, the most exciting was this one because it was mine. Although I was excited that he did it. But it makes years and years since I had this idea of an airplane with perpetual endurance flying around the world. I thought I would like to be in that plane also to fly several days, several nights. It was the first time I could do it. Already did the previous flight and I did it this time. And it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. You wake up in the morning, middle of an ocean, and you see the sun starting to rise. And you know that it's going to give you the energy for the entire day. And you see the batteries loading with the sun until it's completely full and you are in 28,000 feet. And then you go through the night. And you have a meeting with the next sunrise. And you do the cycle again. And you can do this cycle forever. Thank you.
So what was the biggest challenge during your flight here?
I think the biggest challenge were the 17 years before takeoff. To imagine this project, to find enough people who would believe in it, like André, who partnered with me from the beginning. This team, the partners who funded the project and brought the technology, all the tests we have done, all the times that we had problems we did not know how to solve. And when the tower in Honolulu gave me the clearance to take off, it was like I don't know how to explain that. It was like the cherry on the cake, you know. Suddenly, it really could happen.
And what message do you want the success of this journey to send to people about clean technologies?
Clean technologies can achieve the impossible. Clean technologies can make an airplane fly day and night without fuel. Perpetual endurance, fly around the world, fly across oceans. And clean technologies on the ground bring peace, social opportunities, wealth. It brings the possibility for people to develop themselves. It's a way to fight against poverty if you give clean technologies so people can produce their own energy. So it's a huge market. It's a way to fight poverty. It's a way to protect the environment. So there's a lot of advantage. So now it's the way to make a big adventure, something that has never been done before. So of course it attracts the awareness of people and that's the goal. But probably in 10 or 20 years, people will think about it and say, oh, there was a time where it was very special to fly with a solar airplane, when maybe a lot of other people will fly with it in the future.
I know you said the first thing you wanted to do was to thank your team, but
Yes.
after that, what did you miss? What are you looking forward to? A good night's sleep, or what is it that you miss? What's the first thing that you want to do, or some kind of food? What are you missing? A warm bath.
I know. I miss the 3 last days. I miss desperately the 3 last days. It was the world I love. No, it was the world of exploration, the unknown. When you find yourself on a big ocean, completely alone in the cockpit, and you have full confidence. You know that you're just accomplishing something you love to do. So this world of exploration is what I like to transmit. So many people are prisoners of their old ways of thinking and doing, and they suffer in life because they don't dare to make the step into the unknown, into accomplishing their dream. With André, we work a lot, but we accomplish our dreams. And this is maybe the most beautiful reward we can have in life. So we're very thankful that life allows us to do it, but we worked a lot also for it. And I think everybody could also work a lot to fulfill his dreams.
So are you bored?
Dare. People have to dare. You know, people have to dare. People have to do the first step. If they stay in their comfort zone, things will never happen. When you walk outside of your comfort zone, everything's possible.
Wonderful. Thank you for talking with us. Appreciate
With pleasure.
it. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your welcome.
Okay. So my first question is, can you compare this flight to the other flights that you guys have taken?
Compare this flight to?
Yeah, this flight to the other flights that you've taken.
No, for me it was the most incredible flight, because I was dreaming of flying day and night with no fuel since 17 years, and it's the first time I could do it. Now there was another flight that was fantastic. It was André's flight, when André came from Japan and landed in Hawaii, where he flew 5 days and 5 nights. And when he landed, there was something in his eyes, and I thought, it's an experience he will never be able to explain. And now I know what he experienced, and it's fantastic. You know this.
And I'm happy you did.
Yeah, that's nice. You know this world of exploration. What is it? It's a world where you can be alone in the elements, alone in the middle of an ocean, and you feel full confidence. It's a world where you have clean technologies, and you respect the environment, and you go with nature. It's a world where you go into the unknown, where you have to stimulate your creativity to find new solutions. It's a world where human beings can really express themselves. That's why I always dreamt of being an explorer, and I love that world. And what I hope is that enough people can understand that life can be explored. You know, every day there are challenges. Sometimes it's to get health again when we're sick or have an accident. It's to bring children to school, to find a new job, learn a new language, or whatever. But people usually are afraid. They want to stay in their comfort zone. They want to reassure themselves with old dogmas and certainties. And this makes them really unhappy in life. If you are open to what life can bring and you dare to make a step in the unknown and to call your certainties into question, life is really interesting.
And then my last question, any challenges, any scary moments? I know that the landing was delayed a little bit.
The landing was delayed a bit, I think, because we needed the wind to calm down. It's an airplane that is very sensitive to turbulence, and it was quite turbulent. It was bumpy. Huh? I was telling to the team by sat phone, it's a landing you deserve. I was fighting like hell in the turbulence because the wings are really big. But you know, André is a very, very experienced pilot, and he taught me how to fly that plane. So I'm very thankful. You know, André led the technical team. André led the technical team who built the plane. So I was thinking of you all the time, and not only because of your previous flight, but because this airplane is really well built.
You never know. You know, when you go into one of these flights, you go in the unknown, you explore. You have a plan, but it can happen in a very different way. So it's full of surprises, and you have to be ready to accept these surprises. You have to be ready to change your plan and be open for that. So I think that's really a state of mind which is very interesting to develop, and that we should have also on the ground, not only in the air.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Monsieur Piccard, what sorts of inventions specifically do you hope that Solar Impulse might inspire here in the center of technological innovation in California's Silicon Valley?
No, I think that in Silicon Valley, the ideas are here, people are moving, people are creating, are inventing. Silicon Valley is an example for the world. Now, the invention that the world needs is a little bit of long-term thinking for the leaders of the different countries. Because what are we doing now? In the world, people are living on credits. They are destroying natural resources, depleting the fossil energies in the ground. People are, destroying everything just for the short term. And this is something we have to change. And the solutions exist. Now with clean technologies, you can create wealth for the long term and at the same time create protection for the environment. And you make profit on the short term also, because you create jobs and you develop new technologies that the world needs, and it's a new market.
So you don't have to give up something you don't have to give up jobs or wealth in order to create this new paradigm.
For a very long time, the people protecting the environment were asking others to do sacrifice, to renounce to mobility and comfort. And this you can never obtain. People don't want to make sacrifice. Clean technology is the way to reconcile protection of the environment and industry and economical growth. Because it's a market that brings new products available to the people. And new products is not only solar power, it's energy efficiency, it's electrical mobility, it's houses that are well insulated, so they don't need so much energy. It's LED lamps, it's light structures, it's a smart grid where you don't lose so much energy with losses. So all this now exists. There are companies who produce it. Silicon Valley, of course, is leader, but we have partners in this project that you see on the plane. It's companies who are really bringing the credibility to the vision of Solar Impulse because they bring these technologies on the market. But the governments have a big role to play. The governments have to make legal frameworks in order to replace the old polluting devices by the new modern technologies. We have legal frameworks for everything, for health, hygiene, education, security, police, taxes, everything except energy. People are still allowed to waste energy, to use devices that waste energy because of the losses. And this is the problem of CO2 and the problem of pollution. It comes from that. It doesn't come from humankind, it comes from old, outdated technologies. And that has to be replaced. So I tell you, maybe one of the most incredible moments of the flight for me was 2 days ago during Earth Day. I could speak live from Solar Impulse to the United Nations plenary session, to Ban Ki-moon and 175 heads of state, to speak about the fact that Solar Impulse is not science fiction. Solar Impulse is something today with technologies of today that can be used today if heads of state would have a little bit more courage.
Thank you, monsieur.
André, you wanted to say something?
Yes, by all means.
If you think about technology, you could imagine to have this airplane without the pilots flying higher in the stratosphere for a long time, 6 months, able to do communication, observations, and replacing the work that's at least partly what satellites are doing. So the technology is available, and that's typically something we could develop and we could bring to a mature state with companies here in the Silicon Valley.
Thanks very much.
Last question here.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent.
Congratulations on the flight. So I wanted to ask you, you're talking a lot about clean energy. This is raising a lot of awareness, but how do you turn all of this publicity and awareness into something concrete in the future?
By discussing to heads of state, making speeches to governments, and making interviews with a good question like yours. Because you know, today, if we were to replace the old polluting devices by new modern clean technologies, we could divide by 2 the CO2 emissions, and at the same time we would create jobs and make profits. So we have to explain that today, protecting the environment is profitable. And it was not the case in the past. Even 5 years ago, the solutions were not profitable. It needed subsidies. It needed a lot of financial sacrifice. Not today. Today, you can insulate your house and save on your energy bill. You can drive an electric car and save money. You can have a smart grid, and on an industrial level, you save money. Because CO2 today has become the marker, the witness of inefficiency. CO2 is not just something that destroys the environment. CO2 is something that destroys the industry because it's not efficient, which means that it's more expensive. And if we explain things in a logical way, we don't need to be ecological anymore. Logical is enough.
Perfect. Thanks. Get some rest. Thank you very much.
Okay.